Hey guys, this is the Revolving Battle Fox here, and I am back with another video in my series titled Cosplay, How I Choose What Anime Conventions I Want to Go to. Or it's titled something like that, I can't quite remember. But in this series, so far I have covered 11 out of the 12 things on my list, and just for a brief overview, those 11 things are location, price, genre, community, hotels, VIP passes, popularity, programming, history, YouTube videos, and days. So, next we are going to talk about the weather, and even though this is the last one on my list, I might come up with some more in the future, but I might not. It just depends on if I feel inspired to make another one based off of going to another con that makes me realize, oh yeah, I gotta look for this. Such as maybe going to multiple cons in a year. I might add that one on. I'm not quite sure. It just depends. But for right now, I think this is going to be the last one until I make an all-encompassing video, just for the general public otaku weeb out there about what to look for when choosing or how to choose what anime convention you want to go to. And of course, when I say anime, I mean that to be all encompassing for pop culture, video games, comics, stuff like that, steampunk, you name it. But I'll just say anime because it's still in that same realm. So let's get right into it and go to number 12, which is weather. And I'll admit this is a new one for me, and I haven't even considered weather as something to look forward to or something as a determining factor until I went to Anime Weekend Atlanta this year. And losing my voice, sorry. But yeah, Anime Weekend Atlanta 2019. And that took place around Halloween time, like the week of Halloween, like towards the end of October. So yes, this is more or less my first, I guess, fall or cold weather convention. Because, I'm from the South. I'm from South Carolina. It gets cold. Well, when it gets down and it's not hot like in the summer, it's cold, if that makes sense. I'm not cold natured. I can't take a lot of cold. So even wind will like bug me. And that's something I really didn't take too much into consideration when I was planning for this trip to Anime Weekend Atlanta 2019. And of course, it's in Atlanta. And even though it's in the south, it's still cold, especially around that time. Because we're just jumping pretty much from summer, where it's still kind of hot and you don't have to go outside or with a jacket on until bang, you need a jacket and all that good stuff. So, and I went there, I was not expecting it to be that cold. I know they had kind of changed it, moved it, I think, about a month back, so that could have been a contributing factor. I'm not quite sure. Someone who's a veteran at for AWA, let me know. But I think they did push it back. And this was my first time at AWA. So I went there, and right off the bat, I knew I made a big mistake by not bringing my jacket. And actually, I wanted to bring my jacket, but I was rushing because I like to do things at the last minute. Long story short, I crammed a whole bunch of clothes into the washing machine. And I was debating if I should put my jacket in there. And I was like, yeah, let me go ahead. And it was already overstuffed. So I put it in there. The thing was like, it looks like it was about to lunge at me. So I more or less kind of broke it. Um, it's kind of working now, but I can definitely tell I'm going to need to get a new washing machine in the future. Because I don't think it's going to last long. I did have a guy to check it out. He just says it takes a while to reset. But now my sister's like, it's making noises again when it was kind of working. But it wouldn't wring out the clothes. Yeah, that's TMI, but you know what, whatever. But I'm just giving you a little background. So I ended up going there without a jacket, and it was cold. I regretted that decision because when I got there, I caught the con crud. At first, I thought it was the cold just making my voice hoarse, and I wasn't expecting that, but no, I actually got sick. So I actually spent half my time just in the hotel room, just trying to sleep it off. And if you're one of my roommates watching this, I'm sorry. I hope you didn't catch the con crud because of me, but yeah, between that and I'm gonna be real with you, just being on my period, being sick, being on your period is crappy. Being sick is crappy. Being sick on your period, that's doubly crappy. So that that was not fun for me. Now would I go again? If I can get the Waverly next year, I definitely plan on going again, especially if my roommates want to come. I promise I'll try my best to bring a jacket and not get concrete, but anyways, I'm kind of getting off topic here. Uh, the point is, yeah, it was cold, and there were some points with the way the hotel was designed, you couldn't go where the panels were without having to go outside, and they had security guards monitoring that. So it takes about maybe 8 to 15 seconds, or actually probably about 10 to 15 seconds to get from, it's a short little walk, but it takes about 10 to 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds max to get from like the point A to point B. But going between there, constantly trying to get through panels and get to your hotel because the con was connected to the host hotel, the Waverly, that's what I was in. And that's the only thing I consider be that I would consider, to be honest, going there. So going back outside in the cold was really, really bad for me. I am not cold natured. I cannot stand a lot of cold. And then having the food trucks out there in the freezing, getting my food and waiting for my friend at the time's food it was a lot of cold. And that's probably where I got extra sick. And then I made a walk to go to the pizza place, which is about maybe a quarter mile, half a mile away outside with no jacket. Yeah, big deal. It is, cold. And I guess you would probably say, well, that's your own darn fault for not bringing a jacket or planning at the last minute. And you know what? You're right. It is my own darn fault. But even then, with my cosplays, I did not intend to wear a jacket over them. See, most of my cosplays, at least in my opinion, are designed for like summer use, where they're not extra hot. The one cosplay I have, Abraham von Helsing from Code Realize, Guardian of Rebirth, his was so hot and I'd be sweating in it. It's like I can't do that one anymore. So because normally I'm going to summer cons or cons that are like in the spring, summer, or whatnot, where it's not too bad or too windy outside, so I can deal with it. But now it's like, yeah, me and my cosplays were not ready for this cold, and then I got sick there. But it was that experience at AWA this year that made me realize I need to sit down and and think about my list of how I choose which conventions I want to go to. And I say this because there were a couple of conventions I thought about going to that take place in the freaking winter. I know KatsuCon and Anime NYC, especially in Anime NYC. Those are the main two I was thinking about visiting. And because I heard a lot of people talk about KatsuCon, and it keeps coming up in conversations with Anime Weekend Atlanta. I heard about KatsuCon at the con at AWA this year, and it's like, gee, people are talking about KatsuCon as much, if not more so, than Anime Expo. What gives? I want to try it out, maybe. And it's a popular con. Some people say they go there. A lot of people go there expecting to get cos famous, which kind of reminds me of Anime Expo. For some, not everyone, but for some, and I guess that would kind of make sense why uh, both of them are kind of talked about in the same breath, kind of. But again, getting off topic here. But I lost my train of thought. But yeah, KatsuCon takes place like in February around my birthday, which is cool. But I'm just, I don't know if I'm feeling going out of my way all the way up north. And that's another thing. I believe it's up north, kind of heading that direction. I can't remember where exactly it is, what, Baltimore or somewhere in that vicinity. And we're not even talking about just like the peep little southern cold here. We're talking about genuine northern cold here. If I can't take the southern cold here, I'm pretty sure it's going to be hard for me to take the northern cold. And I can't remember if they have a host hotel there. I think they do. But even if they did, if I have to like go outside and be in that freezing cold, I just don't know if I can do it. And then, on a side note, I don't even think they mail tickets out. So that's kind of like another, I don't want to say nail in the coffin, but that's like another strike. Like, I really need to think about this. But sorry, throat's getting a little bit dry. But more for Anime NYC, that's more of a bigger goal for me to go to. But I know for a fact Anime NYC does not have a host hotel for me to fight over online. But even the closest hotels, they're still like a walking distance. And I heard it gets really, really cold. And to like bring a jacket. And it's by the Hudson River, apparently, according to I think Sloan the Otaku. I was watching her videos and kind of her tips for Anime NYC. So being like near the Hudson River makes it extra cold. And it's just like, okay, I don't know if I can do this. I really got to think about this. Do I really want to go to these cons that take place? This one takes place in November too. So that's another thing compared to AWA. It's like I gotta really grind to get the funds to go up to New York. And I'm sorry, I'll be so pissed if I go up to New York and like get the con crud. But I've never been to New York before, so I've always wanted to go, and I figure why not go when you go to a con? But I still think it could get kind of cold up there regardless of the season or if it's summer or whatever. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's just something I gotta think about. Just knowing your limitations. I know my limitation is I can't do a lot of cold. So it's something I really got to hunker down to think about. Is going to Katsucon worth it right now? Right now, as for me, I'd probably say no to Katsucon, but I'd probably still keep it on the back burner for the future. Anime Expo, not Anime Expo, but I ain't gotta worry about it being too cold over there ever unless it hits the nighttime. But Anime NYC, I want to go to that so bad, but yeah, I don't know if it's worth it for me. Like it's on my bucket list of cons to go to, but if I go there, I really have to create a lineup that deals with like winter clothes. And I know if I did go, one of my cosplays, it would be, or it would kind of have to be based on the winter. It would be Marcus, or like just an android from Detroit becoming human at the when they were pretending to be the cleaners, android cleaners at the Stratford Tower. I think that's an awesome cosplay. So I would need something kind of bulked up and layered up like that, which that's more money for me to go out and commission these cosplays. Not that I mind, but still is definitely something I got to think about. I still want to go, but now I'm having second thoughts. And now my mind is kind of directed towards maybe going to Anime Matsuri, which I believe takes place in July. And I think that one's a 4-day convention too. Whereas Anime NYC, I believe that's a 3-day convention as well as Katsucon. I think that's 3 days. I'm not quite sure. I gotta check it again. But yeah, I think I pretty much ran the course on this video. But that's personally what I'm taking into consideration now. Is it a high priority on my list, like location, budget, price, stuff like that? No, it's not a high priority, but I definitely could say it's not. It definitely can't be a low priority because just knowing my body and what it's going to do in the cold if I'm not well prepared. Yeah, who wants to spend all that money on going to conventions and then you get sick and then you don't have a good time or you do nothing and you stay in the bed the whole time? So yes, it's definitely something I got to think about, and hope it's something that you guys would take into consideration too. But yeah, like I said, I think I've ran my course with this video. I don't think there's too much more I can add to it at this point, when it comes to the weather and how to choose which conventions you want to go to. So I think after this, if I don't come up with another thing about what I look to or how I research or choose what conventions I want to go to, I think the next and maybe the last video will be all encompassing of just all 12 things, just like I said, for the general person out there, and not just based too much on my personal experience. But hopefully it'll be condensed. I could just see that one being a nightmare, going all over the place, taking 2 hours to do. But we'll see how I can get that video out and in a orderly fashion. But until then, I think that's going to be all for this video. If you happen to like this video, or you're a fan of video games or drink tests, taste tests, toys, reviews, stuff like that, then feel free to check out the rest of my channel. If you want to be so kind and help contribute to my GoFundMe to help pay for my ticket for South Carolina Comic Con, I will leave the link in the description below. If you want to check out my eBay store, I'll also leave the link for that in the description below. Message me on eBay, let me know that you saw this video, and I'll give you a personalized discount on anything that you want. But until next time, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, do what you gotta do, and I will see you all in the next video. And I'm going to go play my Switch right now. Alright guys, talk to you later. Bye.